Good evening, family. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Tuesday. We're back here again on a Tuesday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. You know how I do. Hope you had a great weekend. Hey man, I appreciate you rocking with me. For those who watch the replays, for those who like the videos, and even my new subscribers. Hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming and being a part of this. Thanks for checking me out. My name is Marvin Richardson, and this is Becoming One. The goal of this is to help you in relationships in your marriage, becoming one in Him, with us, for all. And so today we're going to focus a little bit on becoming one in Him, and we're going to talk about being a husband. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just go ahead and get into it. And so there's a lot of information, commentary out there about what husbands can do to be better and what husbands are not quite doing. A lot of times, and this is just a observation. I'm not calling out anybody's church, but just an observation. You ever notice, fellas, you go to men's conferences and they be like, you need to get it together. You need to stop sinning. You need to stop doing this. You need boom, 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 boom. And then the ladies, when they go to conferences, it's like, God is good all the time. Ladies, you know what? God, you're a queen, and you have something great and a purpose in your life, and you don't need no man. And you know, God is going to do something great and powerful, and we just want to encourage you and encourage you. And then I'm like, really? Can we get some of that? You know, brothers, you are strong. You is beautiful. You is kind. You is smart. Now we may not want to be told that we're beautiful, but we do want to be told that we're kind and we are smart. If you think about it, God says in His word, enter my gates with thanksgiving and enter His courts with praise. So it's interesting, this is a nugget for the ladies. It's interesting that, if you kind of enter your husband's gates with thanksgiving and praise, do you think he would have a positive or a negative experience with that? I think it would be positive. So anyway, that's just for the wives who's watching this, because I know there's going to be somebody's wife on here watching. Yeah, he needs 5 tips on how to be a better husband. Or you just really may want to know. And for some of you husbands watching this, like, look, there's enough conversation out there that's telling us what we may not be doing right. Now, granted, we could always step it up. We always could. But this is not that live. This is not a live where I'm going to talk about what you're not doing right. I'm not. I'm here to encourage you. And I just want to give you 5 tips. Okay. You may get 7, but I'm going to give you 5. The title says 5. I'm definitely going to give you 5. Okay. Because I want to add value. Becoming one, the goal for us is to add value. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that can be talked about, but let's just add value tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to add value to the brothers, the husbands, the ones, what is it? The left-hand gang, the brothers who are married. No, I'm not married, but I got 18 years of being married. So I think I can give you a few tips on how to be exceptional. Okay. So I've heard a saying that was said before. It says leaders are not born, but they are made. Sometimes people feel that leaders are made. Sometimes people feel that leaders are born. They're a born leader. So I would say that there's some traits characteristic wise where some people will have more of a bent towards being a good leader, and some may not. But in any case, we are not necessarily, you're not born that way because you had to go through life in order to actually hone those skills. When you're born, you was just clay. You were raw materials. And so before you actually became a husband, you had to learn some things. You went from a boy to a teen, boy, adolescent, teen, young adult, and then a whole man. Shoulders got broad. You got beard, mustache. You was growing hair in your face, hair in other places. You know what I'm saying? You started to get a little bit of muscles. You know what I'm saying? You walk a little bit different. You started smelling when you became a teenager. You remember those years? Your mom walking in the room be like, oh my God, like, ooh. So you had to go from processes and transitions from boyhood to manhood. What about from manhood to husbandhood? Is there anything that anybody has taught you? Have you read any books? If you haven't read any books, I would encourage you, brothers, get a book. Get a book and read, because nobody has taught you how to be a better husband to your wife. Now, God he can teach you, but for the most part, like, who's teaching this stuff? There's a lot of commentary in social media about what we're not doing right. What about what we should do right? What about what right looks like? There are a lot of marriages present right now that they are doing great. They are thriving. And at some point, if you out there, hit me up. I will have you on this show because I want to talk about the marriages that are working. So many that's not. Why don't we talk about the marriages that are working? Why don't we glean from those relationships? Because if we learn from the successes of what they do, we might say, you know what, I'm gonna borrow that. You know, husband, you might hear something that a dude did for his wife and be like, you know what, I'm gonna borrow that. I'm gonna borrow that and see how it works out for me. You can't go wrong. Imitation, as they say, is the best compliment. So you're not stealing my ideas, you're not stealing somebody else's ideas. Just go ahead and steal like an artist and let it work for your good, for your marriage, for the benefit of what you are, so that your wife can experience you in such a great way, an exceptional way. You know what I'm saying? Not just ordinary, extraordinary. How great would it be that when your wife thinks about you year after year, like, man, I have the greatest husband ever. Can you imagine your wife can be brought to tears when she thinks about the kind of husband that you've been to her, when she thinks about, not that you were perfect because you're going to mess up, you know what I'm saying? You're going to mess up. But when she thinks about the full body of work that you've done in being a husband to her, it can bring her to tears. When she thinks about how you've loved her, when she thinks about how you've sacrificed, it's just something that is like, wow, God, you made him for me and you fashioned him this way. And he just gets me. When your wife can say, man, he just gets me, then you get her. I had to say that. Look, I don't care. I don't care. But, you know, leaders are not born, but husbands are not born either. You know, then you're not born a husband. I was not born a husband. I was born a boy, Marvin Richardson Jr. I was born, you know, a kid. And, you know, and I've gleaned some things from my dad, but I've also watched other men do things. And I was just like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to do that. And did I always get it right? Nah, I didn't always get it right. But I watched and I learned. And I said, okay, cool. And so we become what we are as a result of what we've seen, what's been modeled to us, and what has been taught or caught, and then what we choose to do. You know what I'm saying? We'll see something, be like, okay, and that might be both positive and negative. So whatever is modeled in front of you, you will do it. Whatever you've seen your dad do, you might do that, both positive and negative. And so if you've seen a man being a womanizer, then you might be a womanizer. I wouldn't advocate for that. I would say choose to do differently. That's why I put chosen. You can see something can be modeled in front of you, positive or negative. Choose the positive. You know what I'm saying? You can choose that. And then whatever lessons that you actually catch by way of seeing your dad do it, by way of other men in your life have done it, model those things, incorporate those things into who you are. And that'll help you to be not just a regular husband, but it'll help you be exceptional. And, you know, it's trial and error. You know, she might get her red flowers. She actually likes yellow flowers. Okay, I'm going to get her yellow flowers next time, so that she has a memory of you always striving to do better and more as a husband. Um, so, you know, I wrote this down. Before any woman marries a man, she should ask herself, what has he been taught? Have he been tested? And has he been approved? So who do you get approval from? You get approval from the Lord. The Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. So if he hasn't received favor from the Lord, then you might not be it may not be the time. You know what I'm saying? The favor comes. He receives favor from the Lord, right? From the wife. And then it's just like there's something that goes on in his life, but he does have to have favor prior to you. Because ladies, you are going to bring a measure of favor into his life. But do you want a man who's not favored of the Lord prior to him meeting you? Yeah. So he needs to have favor. He needs to be in alignment with God such that when you come along, you not only multiply, but there's a blessing that comes upon your marriage that's just like, wow, it just seemed like they go from 0 to 100 seamlessly, effortlessly. There are things that can happen while you're married to somebody that just would not have happened. You can get from one stage of living to another stage of living to another level of influence in a matter of 6 to 8 months. And you're like, man, how did this happen? It's taken some other people years, but for us, it just seems like things are just flowing. And I mean, that's because the blessing of marriage comes upon you. But You have to be taught certain things, right? You have to be tested in certain things. And prior to you becoming a husband, as a man, you do need to be tested in some ways. You're going to be tested in your character, your integrity. You're going to be tested in how you handle money, how you handle people, what you do behind closed doors. You're going to be tested both seen and unseen. And when those things, when you come through a season of testing, God will be like, okay, I'm now ready to bring this one in front of you. And you just doing life, and you just be like, yeah, bro, I was going to the gym the other day, and your brother be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I'm just, man, who's that? Because you're just busy doing God's work. So you hadn't quite become a husband yet, but that's how it kind of happens for us. We're just minding our business, and then like something just kind of, wow. But that doesn't mean that you're an exceptional husband. You're not even a husband yet, but at a point where you do say I do, you don't just want to be good, you want to be great. There's a book called From Good to Great. Read that book and think about it from the standpoint of being a husband. That's one book that you can read, how to make yourself better. And there's a lot of books that talks about being a husband. One day I'll write one, but for now, avail yourself of the information. Um, because as you're tested, then you can be approved. You can say, you know what, I've learned this, I've learned this, I've learned this, I've learned this. And as a result, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? You want to do to marry, you'd be like, let's go. So as a husband, you want to be like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this thing. Yep. I learned this. I learned that. I've been tested on this. I've been tested on that. It's go time. It's go time. And when you're in that place, you get to practice what you've learned, not just what you preach, but practice what you've learned. And sometimes you'll have seasons where you don't quite do so well, but the goal is to be exceptional. You're always going to be on the road to becoming better, on the road to becoming a better version of you. So as you become a better version of you, you get to show up differently as a husband. All right. And so, how to be an exceptional husband. All right. Number one, and these are in no order whatsoever. One sec. These are in no particular order. I'm gonna say the best for last, though. All right. Speak, do, learn. How do you become an exceptional husband? You need to speak exceptionally. Your communication to your wife is key. Ladies will tell you, if they were in my background, they would start clapping. That's right, Marvin. Speak. The way you communicate says a lot about you. There's a way that you can talk really loud, and there's a way that you can talk really calmly and say, you know what, sweetheart, this is what I think we should do. And I hear what you're saying, and I really honor what you're saying. And I think that's great. That was a great point. But can I just bring this other point? I just want you to think about it. And then let's come up with an idea or a plan together so that we can move forward. She'd be like, oh my God, he listens to me. You know what I'm saying? So there's the way that you speak says a lot about you. You can stand on your mark and mean something, and you don't have to scream at the top of your lungs. You don't have to, I'm the husband, or you need to submit to me. Newsflash, brother, if you ever tell your wife that you're the husband, she needs to submit, it's not going to happen. Her submission is going to come by virtue of how you just show up. And it'll be such that, like, man, he walks in such a level of humbleness, power, and authority that, oh, yeah, it's easy to submit. Submission is not a cuss words, wives. This is a lie for the men, but it's not a cuss word. Submit, 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 submit. The Bible actually says submit one to another. So that's the part of the scripture that comes before it says, husbands, wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. No, it says submit one to another. So sometimes as a husband, you have to say, you know what, wife? You know what, babe? Yeah, you're right. Let's do it the way you see it. And sometimes he may not. But in any case, the goal is agreement. The goal is not I get in my way. So speak, do. The doing part is when you decide to do something, you do it. Your action says a lot more than what you say. So we all heard the term action speaks louder than words, right? And they do. Sometimes the small things have much more weight than anything else, both positive and negative. If you're going to be an exceptional husband, you have to do what you say you're going to do, and do the things that you don't want to do. Do the things that's going to give her a benefit more than it's going to benefit you. It should benefit her first. No, I'm not telling you to simp. I'm saying, look, brother, it's chess, not checkers. You know what I'm saying? You do that move, And it may seem like she's winning, but if the goal is to win the game, then you got to think 2 to 3 moves ahead. So if I do this, you know what? I may let her have this because it's a great idea. But if I give her enough experiences where she doesn't feel like I'm dominating the relationship, and I give her time to express herself and we actually execute some of her plays, then when I say, yeah, I hear that, but I think we should do this. But babe, I hear you, but I think we should do this. This is, yeah. Look, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I think this is what we need to do. That's where I'm at. And then she has the space to say, you know what? You are the husband. Okay, let's go ahead and just do it the way you see it. You know what I'm saying? And so some of those actions that you can put in place can give her the ability to have a level of trust that when you do something, you do it. And sometimes you may say you're going to do something and you don't do it. You just got to recover and learn, which is the next thing. Speak, do, learn, right? You learn from your mistakes and say, you know what? I thought about it, and this is where I missed it. This is what I want to do forward. And over the next 30 days, oh boy, I'm giving you some game. Over the next 30 days, um, this is what I'm going to be working on. And we can follow up in about 15 days from now or whatever. And we can just, and I'll just want to do a check-in with you to see how I'm doing, because I learned that that was the wrong call. And I kind of want to make amends for that. I want to make up for that, but I'm going to make up for that by doing something different. That's going to speak more volumes than, okay, you know, I'm going to do it. And then you don't do it. Now, if you have a real reason why you don't do something, then of course there has to be a level of understanding. But speak, do, and learn. Okay, that's number one. Speak, do, and learn. Number two, dwell with her with understanding. I can do a whole live on just this alone. Now, brothers, the Bible talks about dwell with her with understanding, right? It also talks about how to to treat her in such a way so that your prayers are not hindered. Because if you don't live with your wife in a way and you're dealing with her harshly or treacherously, when you pray into the Lord and you're asking him for things, he ain't going to hear you. So, sir, husbands, for your sake, dwell with her with a level of understanding and do not deal treacherously with your wife, but dwell with her in a way so that your relationship with God is not negatively affected. So he doesn't shut the door. I mean, you know, when you close the door, close the door. When y'all close the door, there's a level of acceptance. Don't deal with her treacherously, right? Understand how she is, understand her ebbs and flows, understand what picks her spirit up, and you understand what makes her spirit feel low. Understand when it's that time of the month and kind of, you know, at this time, she may feel a little more emotional, and then eventually she may get all mushy. Just be there for her. Get her chips, dips, give her some cabbage to eat, whatever it is that you may need to help her get through that season where she may be weak and emotional. I be husbands. Look, I'm trying to tell you how to be exceptional. I know you may not have been taught this thing, but that time of the month comes, you should already have the package. Go ahead and get the care package now. Get the care package. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, call it Special Love Week. I'm borrowing this from this pastor named Bishop Perrin. Shout out to him. He called it Special Love Week when his wife was on her cycle. If your wife knows that, man, it's about that time, she's not going to be as patient. She may be a little snappy. She may be cranky. It's painful. Fellas, I'm not trying to be graphic, but can you imagine if your parts were getting rid of blood, if blood was coming out of your body? It drains you. I get a little paper cut. I literally got a cut yesterday. I get a little paper cut and I'm just like, okay, let me close it up. But I don't do too well with seeing my own blood. I'm just like, first time when I was young, true story. And then I'm gonna get back to my regular schedule program. On this part of my hand right here, I caught myself cutting an apple, and I was like, okay, mom, I'm gonna cut my apple. I'm gonna peel an apple. So I'm doing this with the knife, and literally this part right here cut open. I saw it. I was like, mommy. She's like, what? And I just ran there. I was like, look. I could literally see the meat. I know it's too TMI. I could literally see the meat in my hand. And I'm just like, man, took me to the hospital. They had to sew it up. I'm looking at the The person stole my hand. I just like, you know what? That's just gross. I'll just turn my head this way because I just couldn't. And of course, I'm a boy and I'm hard headed. I think maybe 3 years later, I get another cut right here. I got stitches 3 times in my hands, fam. 3 times. Obviously, I didn't learn my lesson. The point I'm trying to make is if you're understanding what she's going through during that time of the month, then she knows that you understand where she's at. Okay. It's not a drag to the marriage, it's an opportunity for you to be exceptional during that time. And you're going to get multiple times a year. You're going to get 12 times a year, maybe more because it's what, 26 days, whatever the number is. You're going to get multiple times during the year to kind of show up for her and be there for her. And you can talk to her calmly. You can say, sweetheart, I understand. Is there anything I can do for you? You want me to rub your back? She just be like, mm-hmm. And while she is going through, headache, whatever it is for her, when she comes from that moment, when the moment is gone, when that particular well has run dry and she's all back to normal, she's gonna be like, hey, baby. You'll be like, huh? She'll be like, hey. And she give you that smile. You just be like, this is about to go down. But beyond that, dwelling with her understanding is also understanding where is she at in her career? What is she trying to do in life? What is she trying to accomplish? How can I aid in that? How can I pray for her in that way? What can I do to go ahead of her? How can I intercede for her? The same way Jesus intercedes for you. He doesn't sleep night or day. I'm saying, how can I intercede on her behalf so that she can be where she needs to be? If you can launch your wife to where she's supposed to be, bro, now you're going into some exceptional husband stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I can go on and on with that, but I'm going to move on. Number 3, lead by example more than with words. So I kind of spoke about this earlier, but I'm going to give you an acronym, right? A leader, if you break it down, is a living example authorized to deliver exceptional results. Write that down. Leader, L, living, E, example, A, authorized, D, deliver, E, exceptional, R, results. Living example, authorized to deliver exceptional results. That means you as her husband, there are things that you can do that the ex-boyfriend couldn't do. There are things that you can do, I'm treading lightly on this, that her biological father cannot do. Okay? Because her father probably handled it. If he's given her to you and he looked at you and said, take care of my son. You take care of my son. I mean, my son. Lord help me. Take care of my daughter. Take care of my daughter. You got to take care of his daughter. And if the father isn't there, your heavenly father is saying, take care of my daughter, son. I'm watching you. Remember, dwell with her with understanding so that your prayers may not be hindered. Dwell with her in a way that it's like, God, I need this. Done. Lead by example more than words. So, and it's not just saying what you're going to do. It's just you continuing to show up. When you continue to show up and be husband, who can combat that? Who can? When you just being, it's like breathing. You're just doing it. You can do it so much to the point that your absence says more than your presence. It should be that your wife be like, man, I wish my husband was here right now. When they start confessing things like that, that shows what you have done. You put it down so much that it's just like, man, wow, my husband really does. He really does a lot. But that's the example that you leave and you're doing. Remember earlier, speak, do, learn. In that doing, you master that. And you're going to be learning, bro, year 1 to year 4 to year 7. And if you are a man who is easily repentant and you know how to say, you know what, I missed it, man. I wish there was some ladies in a studio that would be like, I'd be like, am I telling the truth? Just imagine the claps. I know that's right. That's right. I'm gonna clap myself. So that was number 3. Number 4, I'm gonna give you 5 on this one. Okay. No particular order. You want to provide 5 different P's. 5 of them. Not what you think. Not what you think, bro. Patience, prayer, provision, power, presence. Okay. You want to give your wife your presence. There's nothing more powerful than your presence. There's nothing more powerful than you show up. Do you remember how it was if you played organized sports? You remember how it was when your dad showed up? If your mom was there and she's like, come on, baby, come on, baby. But when your dad showed up, he was like, all right, son, yeah, come on, come on. There you go. Good hustle, good hustle, good hustle. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And they hit you on the butt. You just be walking away, be like, yeah, my dad was here. My dad was here. Mothers, mothers will uh they will encourage, but your father will confirm. Your mother will say, you did a good job. Your dad will, when your dad says, good job, son, you'd be like, because his presence spoke volumes. Volumes. There are moments where I do my best to show up for my sons. They don't live in the same state. I surprised my son 2 years ago when he turned 13. He had no idea I was coming. I said, hey, you know what? The gift is going to be in the mail. Oh, okay, daddy. Thank you. Okay. Called on his birthday. Happy birthday. Told his mom, I said, hey, I'm here. They came down. He thought he was going to the mailbox place to get his gift. And there I was. Memories. Your presence as a husband speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? If you go home to be with the Lord first, your wife has memories upon memories of all that you did, the way that you loved her. When she's just like, man, it's going to be hard for a dude to come behind this dude. And not to say that, listen, not to say that she can bring her another, but can you imagine you guys are living till death do you part and you're in your 80s and 90s? She ain't going to try to marry nobody anyway. I mean, you just love her so well. She's going to be like, ain't nobody else. That's my husband. He's with Jesus right now. And at some point, I'm going to go meet him as well. Haven't you heard stories where one spouse dies and the other spouse dies soon after? It's almost like they were so bonded that it was just like the Lord was like, all right, come on, just come on. Come on. Let me take you now. Not that they're going to be husband and wife in marriage, because the Bible says there's no marriage in heaven. But it's just interesting how one spouse lives after the other spouse has passed on, and then not too long after they go home to be with them. And the children, whatever the dynamic is of who's left there, they're just like, yeah, that's really sweet. And for those that stay, that just means that God still has something for you, husband or, widowed wife. But your presence is powerful. Power, right? If a man be in Christ, he's a new creature. All things pass away, and behold, all things become new, right? When God is living in you, there's an endowment that you receive that doesn't come from you just being a regular human being. So you need his power, you need his strength in order to be exceptional as a husband, because your wife gonna get on your everlasting nerve. I said it. Your wife gonna get on your everlasting nerve. You're gonna be like, Father, Dad, God, Jesus. You see this? Okay. Greater is he who's greater is he who is in me than he who's in the world. You know those moments where you have heated fellowships and your wife she just knows how to get under your skin because you love her so much. It's just like, you want to say something. I'm not talking about that toxic stuff where you cussing your wife out and calling her all. No, I'm not talking about that. But I'm just saying there's moments where your wife just really tests you. She tries and you just like, you need the power of God that calms your spirit, that when you want to raise your voice, you don't raise your voice. And it's not being a simp. It's not. He who controls his anger is stronger than the one who can take over a city. Do you understand the level of power you need to be able to take over a city? But if you know how to control that mouth of yours, if you know how to control that anger of yours, you're stronger than the one who can strategize to take over a whole city. When you know how to not return a blow when the blow has been given you. I know what I'm talking about. When you know not to cuss them out when you're being cussed at. That takes the power of God. When you know you need the power of God not to have the affair. You need the power of God to decide that you're going to walk in integrity. That you're going to love her whether her body swells or whether she shrink. You got to choose to do that. Because yes, beauty fades. But you got to choose to love her regardless. regardless of even if she's having a bad moment. It takes the power of God to do that. That's that sacrificial love. Love your wife as Christ loved the church, and that because he died for her. So this brother said this. Shout out to David Burris. He said, "Die, bro." I was like, "What?" He says, "Die, bro." I was like, "Man, you're right. You're right. You gotta die for her." I'm almost done. Provision. Of course, brothers. Of course. You got to have a JLB if you want to be with me. No romance without finance. You got to have your finances in order. You got to make money. You have to provide. Not so much, you don't have to provide lavishly. Because if the goal is to provide lavishly to get her all of the things that she's ever wanted, does she really want you or does she want the things? You know, what is it? Dave Ramsey says the four walls: food, what is it? Food, shelter, clothing, transportation. If y'all not happy with the Honda, y'all not going to be happy with a Mercedes Benz, because the target is always going to be moved. If you ain't happy in a 2-bedroom apartment or 1-bedroom apartment, be content there. So that if you're able to give her more, she said, "Babe, I remember when we was over here eating oodles and noodles." You know what I'm saying? Now, if y'all don't start on oodles and noodles, great. But provide, not just financially, provide emotionally, provide from a security standpoint. Nah, babe, I don't think you should go there at night. Yeah, I think you should. No, who you going with? I'm going with you. If she's out at a conference, are y'all traveling in packs? I got a homeboy, I got my, such and such, and the couple we know, yeah, they live out there. How about the two of them escort you back to your hotel? Whatever the case may be, there's a security. That's what you call being exceptional. When you anticipate the things that she needs before she actually asks for it, yeah, that's providing. Prayer. You got to pray. You got to pray. You got to pray just to make it today. Yeah, you got to pray. You got to pray. Patience. You need patience. You need patience. Friend of mine said, patience. Patience. You need patience, man. You need the patience. You got to take your time and listen and wait. Got to wait on the Lord. They say, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount on wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. You're going to have to wait. You got to wait. Your wife is pregnant, bro. You got to wait. You know what I'm talking about. You got to wait. Wait. Like a soldier. And you just taking care of your wife. Because once the episiotomies and things like that happen, you got to wait. You got to wait. They tell you, listen, I know what I'm talking about. I am not afraid to say it. You got to wait the 6 weeks before you and your wife can make love. Otherwise, you're going to have another biscuit in that oven. You got to wait. You got to be willing to wait. When y'all go shopping, you got to wait. You want to be exceptional? Be there, go with her shopping and let her try on outfits, and don't look like you in a rush. Babe, is anything you need? I know some of y'all may be thinking this is some simp behavior. This ain't simp behavior. This is, I'm going to keep my wife for the rest of my life, all the days of my life. You know what I'm saying? That's how I protect the pee. You get what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about. Patience. Patience. You got to have patience. All right, the last one of the 5. You have to walk with God. Like I said, last but not least, we'll be at the top, but I wanted to put it on the back end. If you're going to be exceptional husband, you got to walk with God. If you're not walking with him, then what are y'all doing? He created marriage. He did. So the person who created the institution, for this purpose, a man shall leave his mother and father. Nobody else said that. There was no other gods, past, present, and the wannabe futures, that said, for this purpose, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. So the person who said for this purpose, if you're not connected to him, what are you doing? You need God. Don't you know that there's things that he can tell you that she needs in year 7? Don't you know that God will give you the right arrangement of words to say to her that'll unlock the secret codes to whatever trauma she may have? God will give you the words to say that'll minimize all of that stress that she got. You can call into her what God has put into her, and it can come up and sprout. You can help that manifest by the words that you say. If you're walking with God, He gives you the secrets to the kingdom. He says, "It is my desire to tell you the mysteries of the kingdom." Can you imagine understanding the mysteries of your wife? He says, "Do this, say that." And when y'all are relating, you know what I'm saying? When y'all relating, he can say, "Do this, son." You be like, "Huh? Do this right now." You be like, "Okay." And she be like, the next day, "Babe, I don't know what happened, but you did. And oh my God." Mhm. That's what your father can teach you. Tell the angels be like 10. Boom, 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 boom. It'd be like gold medal. He's a gold medal Olympian. He's Olympian of his wife. Yep, he's no one has ever done that move before. Oh my God, did you see that one? She did a triple husband Lux, such and such. That was a new move. It's never been done in the Olympics ever. I don't care. They won't say this in church, so I'll say this stuff here. You know what I'm saying? Walk with God. Now I'm gonna get a little deep on you, okay? And then we done. When you're walking with God, you got to be both prophet, priest, and king. Saw it from a book. I'm gonna tell it here. 5 things to be an exceptional husband. Prophet. Why? You need a prophet to your wife and to your family. Why? Because the goal of the prophet is to tell the people what God has said. So it goes from God to the people. That's the prophet version of you. Hey, I believe God is saying this. Hey, honey, what do you think about this? I feel like God is saying that we need to do this. Prophet mode, right? Priest mode. Okay, you're going to God for the people. Baby, what do you need? What's going on? What's kind of ailing you? And she tells you, and you're listening with intent, and you say, you know what? So what I hear you saying is this. And she'll go, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to take that to the throne. Okay, thank you. So now you're in priest mode. You're saying, Lord, what do I need to do? Because I don't have the answer here. I don't know what to do. I'm just, boom. I'm laying it before you because I don't know what to do here. I'm in priest mode. So can you help me out? And God will give you what you need. King. The king is the one that cares for the people. You make sure that all of this civilian benefits, you're the king, so you're able to endow civilian benefits where you live, where they go, the money in their pocket, the things that they do. Prophet, priest, and king. When you're in king mode, you handling your business. You taking care of the wife, you taking care of the kids, you're anticipating what the needs are, right? You're providing, your presence is there. You're in king mode. She can call you, this is you my king. You be like, yeah, you my queen. Because we are rule. I mean, the purpose that God brought y'all together is so that y'all can have dominion and rule. He says, Adam and Eve, like multiply, be fruitful and multiply. Even if y'all not having kids, y'all still need to be doing the act of being fruitful. I mean, practice. Practice makes permanent. Practice, practice, practice. Be fruitful in the bedroom, in the office, in the church, in your businesses, everything that God has called you to do. Be fruitful with it. Take over and dominate, fam. Prophet, priest, and king, do that, man. You do that, bro, you're going to be an exceptional husband. Where's she going? She would be a fool. She'd be a female version of a Nabal. She'd be a straight fool if you mastering that. And you're not going to be perfect, but if your goal is to do better, be that. Be the exceptional husband. I'll close with this. You ever been to a restaurant, 5-star, whatever star? From the moment you walk in, you just understand you experience exceptional service. Exceptional service. You can't even enter that restaurant if you're not adorned the proper way. You don't have on the jacket. If you don't, they take you to a table, they seat. There's an arrangement of how they put silverware and all these different things. And they bring out different things. They bring out different types of food during the course of the meal. Right? So, and if you notice, when they remove one plate, they take the silverware with it, and then before the main dish comes out, they'll clean the table. They'll take the little knife and they'll like get all of the dirt up. They clean the table, cloth table. The service is exceptional. Sir, do you need anything? Before you have to ask them, can you give me some more water? They're already there. They're anticipating your need. Sir, is there anything you need? Ma'am, is there anything you need? How is the food? The manager comes around. Hey, how are you? Are you doing well? How is the food? How's the service? They're asking, they're checking in. That whole experience is 5-star. It's intentional to provide you the best experience possible. So, brothers, this is not a put down, but the question for you is, how is your wife experiencing you? Would she say it's exceptional? Now, don't ask her tonight. You just think about it and you start to implement some things. You know what I'm saying? And then ask, hey, how are you experiencing me as your husband? And I'll tell you, well, babe, this. Okay, great. Hey, is there anything I could work on? Well, since you ask, tell her, like, listen, okay, there may be like 7 things she wants you to work on. Say, okay, babe, I'm a man. So I'm gonna try to, okay, great. So of those 7 things, what are the top 2? Well, could you do this and this? I'll say, great. So you do that, you master that. But you remember the list. Okay, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. And like I said earlier, check in and be like, so how am I doing? Oh, you know what? Yeah, you was really you handling that. She's gonna be thinking, dang, well, what can I do to do better? If you develop a culture where you want to outserve each other, Jimmy Evans says that the best marriages is 2 servants in love. When you choose to serve her because you want to, man, that's great. You are going in exceptional, exceptional. So when the enemy tries to come in like a flood and cause a division, she's like, yeah, you trying, but what I got at home, I ain't giving that up for nobody. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? So give your wife 5-star service and him with us for all. Be the man that he wants you to be for her. Be the man of his dreams for her, not the man of her dreams. Because yeah, you can meet that, but if you become the man of his dreams for her, bro, bro, when you stand before God and he says, well done, my good and faithful servant, he's not just saying that because you walked with him and how you may have handled him in your call in life, but he's like, man, the way that you love my daughter, thank you. Can you imagine Jesus saying to you, man, you loved her well? Man, you know what? I would have done that, but I was teaching you some things when we was walking and you just started doing so. You was acting just like me. This is Jesus talking to you. You acting just like I would have done the same thing. Like me and you, Jesus be like, me and you, we was here, man. We was here. Man, you loved her the way that I love my bride, you loved her like that. That's exceptional. Bro, I even get it. Sometimes it was difficult. You know, Jesus said he's your elder brother. He's not just your Lord and Savior, he's your elder brother. So he's like, bro, when that moment happened in her life, I knew because I was there when the situation happened when she was 12 and it really rocked her world. But the way that you handled her in that moment, I would have done the same thing. Like it's almost like we just in sync. And you like, well, Jesus, you are in me. Oh, yeah, that's right. Can you imagine? That's powerful, yo. Be that kind of husband. Be that kind of husband. Be that kind of husband. Upon this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against that marriage. That marriage. I think I got a part 2 to this coming next week because there's so much commentary of what husbands are not doing. Let's get to teaching husbands what they should do. Let's get to building these husbands up because they need to be built up because the world is tearing them down. Okay, so husbands, for those you've been handling it, I salute you, bro. Fist bump you, bro. Look, man, keep doing it because you know what? If nobody else is telling you a good job, your heavenly Father sees it. And what he sees you do in private, he will reward you openly. He will bless you. But good job, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, even though you feel like nobody's even paying attention. Sometimes you don't get the recognition. Father's Day should not be the only day that you get recognized, and birthday or Christmas. No, man. I'm going to talk to the wives at some point in the future, but just be and do and learn. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you, man. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would, but I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Send this out, replay this out, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'll be back next week, fam. All right. God bless y'all. Good night.